Okay, we are live, and I hope everyone is having a good day. Hello, everyone. Hello to my replay crew. I know a lot of y'all are not going to be able to watch live. A lot of you have jobs, but we do this every Wednesday, or I'm trying to do this every Wednesday. We call it our Watercolor Wednesday. If we haven't met, I'm Viv with Watercolor with Viv or Art with Viv. So today we are going to do a cute Christmas stocking. So just either gather your supplies, you just use whatever you have so you can paint along, or just relax, get you a nice beverage. I have myself a Dr. Pepper, and let's get to it, guys. Okay, let me get my specs on so I can actually see what I'm doing. All right, I have this, we're going to do this cute little mitten. I already drew it out because all that little stuff would take too long to draw out, so we're not going to do that. We're not going to draw this time, but when it's simple stuff, I'll draw it. First thing I'm going to do, I've just got my Cotman. Now, this is not a professional. Now, these are student grade, but I just like them for these little things. I just like the convenience of this palette. It has a cool and a warm and a cool blue. It has a warm and a cool red. It has a cool and a warm yellow. And it has a warm and a cool green. And then it has some yellow ochre, a little sienna, a little umber, and then this white that I don't even use. So this is why I like to use this palette, but just know that this is not professional quality. This is student grade, but I like it. So I'm going to take some of this warm red and the cool red and mix it together, and that'll give me more of a neutral red or a true red, where it won't be too orangey and it won't be too bluey, too purpley. So the first thing I am going to go ahead and do is, let's see, wet this. Wet it with some clean water. Now my water is not clean, but don't tell anybody that. So we're going to wet it with some clean water. Just the mitten part. We're not going to go up there and get into the little cuff yet. That we're going to be like white. It's going to be like white fur. So I've wet that whole thing, and then I'm just going to put my red in. And I'm going around the edges first because I really want it to be a little darker there. And I want it lighter toward the center. So I'm just going to sort of now just coax that all out to the center where it'll be a little bit lighter. And then I think I'm going to add a little bit more of this darker, cooler red. And we're going to go around those outside edges, just to darken that up. And just let the water do the work. Just let that water do the work. The water will help blend those together so you don't have any hard edges. Next, I'm going to work on these, but I'm going to turn it upside down so that can dry and I don't get it all messy. So hopefully you can watch me paint upside down and it doesn't throw you off too much. So I am going to go ahead. I think I'm going to switch to this. This is the brush that actually comes with this kit. It's the Winsor & Newton Sketchers box is what it's called. And I'm just going to pick up some of my red. And I am going to start filling in the candy cane. And then I'm just going to rinse my brush and take clear water and spread that a little bit. Now I want the shadows of these little red things to be on the edges of the candy cane, and then I am just going to blend it. Blend it, blend it, blend it, and then pick some of that up and just put it on the edges. And you want it lighter down that center so it looks like a highlight. we go. We're just going to continue to do that on our stripes. I have been sucked in again to that Christmas parade trial of Daryl Brooks. Actually, they're at the sentencing part. And yesterday, or actually it was last night, they did the victim statements yesterday, but last night's when I actually finally got a chance to watch, because I was obviously working during the day, getting things done for my little creative connection crew. But some of those statements just tore my heart out. I'm just going to do a little, just taking clean water and blending it toward the center. And as you come around, notice that be sure you put your shadows, these darker reds, right on either side of the edges, and then just blend it together. Now, you can come back and add a little bit more red to those edges to really darken it up while it's still damp. And really darken those edges up. I hear you, Dorian Gray. You are just on point today. You have been going to it. All right, so now we got that done. Next, I'm going to do the little orange slice. I'm going to take some of this bright yellow, this kind of lemony yellow. We're just going to paint in there. And that's pretty watery, like I'd say, I would say it's watery, more watery than skim milk. All right, I'm going to pick a little bit of that back up. While it's still wet, I'm going to take some of that warm yellow and just mix a tiny bit, and then just pick up some of this red. And I'm just going to put it right here where that cuff would be casting a shadow, and right around the rim, the rind there. Now this is dry enough, I feel comfortable. I can turn it this way. I'm going to put a pine cone right here. So we'll get this pine cone. All right, so let's start with this sort of sienna. I guess it is a. What in the world? Let's turn this down. There we go. Better. We don't need to hear me twice. So what I'm going to do, I've got a nice watery mixture of that burnt sienna. And I'm just going to try my little pine cone. I'm just going to do like the little end, then another one, maybe one right here. I'm just going to do those little pine cone, they're not petals, I don't really know what they're called. And as we go down, we'll just sort of round it off a little bit. Then we'll come back and get some of this darker brown, and I'm thinking it's like a burnt umber. I'm just going to, it's got too much on there. I'm going to thin that out just a little bit. And then I am just going to drop that in there in some areas just to darken some of these up. And you can even add a few more of the little pine cone petals. I'm going to call them petals. They're not petals, but you can even put some in there. Fill that in a little bit. I'm just picking up some of that excess water. So we'll have a cute little pine cone stuffed down in there. Then we're going to move back over here to our little gingerbread man and pick up some of that sienna and just do a light wash over him or her if you draw a female one or whatever one you want to draw. So we're just going to do the light wash there, and we're just going to keep working our way around, letting things dry as we go so that we don't have to wait on everything drying. I'm going to get some of this sort of sap green, mix it with some of this yellow, and I am going to paint in this Ooh, I'm not going to paint this one because it's too close to that and they will bleed together. Let me paint this one down here first and let that, give that pine cone a chance to dry. And I'm leaving a little bit of the white paper shining through in the center. Then I'll add a little bit of the darker green to that. And I'm just going to come on the edges and drop that in. And sort of pull those little points out. You know how holly leaves have those little stickers. So do that. And we will do another one. We'll do this one back here. I'm trying to avoid that brown on my palette, because it's going to make my holly not look green. Let's move some green over here so I don't have to worry about that brown just yet. And I'm leaving a little line down the center of that one. And I'm going to come back and get my darker green. Again, do the little points on it around the edges. And we'll keep working our way around. On these holly leaves. There we go. I don't know who decided to start doing like Christmas mittens. When I was growing up, it was always Christmas stockings. And that would be like the highlight. We didn't get presents in our Christmas stockings. We just really got fruit and nuts. Occasionally we would get candy. We'd get the peppermint stick. That was probably my favorite. I loved my mom or dad or Santa or whoever it was would always get me one of those really big peppermint sticks. Not a candy cane. I'm talking about a peppermint stick. And I love that thing. So I've just put a little bit of darker green to give it a little bit of shadow. I'm going to come back to this orange slice, and I'm going to come and get some of this burnt sienna and mix it in with this yellow that we have to make it sort of a brighter brown. And then I'm going to just do the little lines. You know how the orange has sections? We would get oranges in our stockings, and not dried oranges. This is one of those dried oranges. You know how people have started slicing oranges. Maybe they've always done it, but I've just noticed slicing oranges and drying them in the oven and making decorations out of them. That's what this is. And I am going to add a little bit more of this warmer color and a little bit of this red in there. And then I'm going to do some finer lines, just not full lines all the way to the center, just strokes. And that'll give that orange some more texture. And then we're going to leave that alone and let it dry before we do anything else to it. While this is drying, I'm going to jump over here and start on the foliage, the little pine branches. First thing I'm going to do is pick up some of this brown, and I'm going to make the sort of the center branch. I'll pick this up. And it's okay if that green gets into that brown. Perfectly okay. And I'm just going to do those little sort of diagonal lines toward the center branch. And I'm going to pick up some of this darker green. And I think I'm going to add some blue to it. Maybe just a touch of brown to it. Yeah, I like that. And we're just going to come back in and do more little strokes here and there, just to give it a variety of green colors. I'm going to come and get some of this darker green and mix it with this brown. I hope you can see what I'm doing, hopefully. And that'll give us a really nice dark. And I want that to be more toward the center where the branch where the little pine needles meet the branch. Now we're going to work on doing another one of these while everything is drying. I'm going to pick up some more of this nice Christmassy green. And Dorian is cheering us on, Dorian Gray. He is my little diamond dove. And put some of this brown right down the center for the branch. I think I want to go with a little bit of the darker brown. And just touch it in there. And you can pick up some of this dark brown, brown and green that you've mixed together. There we go. Now I think I am going to go with this really sort of bright orange color, and I'm just going to paint in some of these stripes on this lollipop. This lollipop gave me fits the first time I did it, so I'm not expecting anything different this time, but it most certainly did give me fits. And it looks like it's still going to give me fits, but it's okay. As long as it looks sort of like a lollipop, I'm going to be happy. I am going to be happy. So now we got all the little things on our lollipop done. Let's go back and let's add some texture to our little gingerbread man. We're just going to add some little dots with some of these browns, so it looks like he has a little bit of texture. I'll even add a little bit of a shadow here where that orange is overlapping him. All right, I'm gonna work on these berries over here. Let's work on the berries. I'm just gonna paint a little round circle and leave a little highlight. Leave a little bit of that dry paper showing so that it looks like a highlight. Uh-oh, these just all blended together. Let me suck up some of that water. There we go. My berries aren't perfectly round. I don't know what's happened to them. They'll be fine though. And two more here. Two more little berries here. Just sort of to fill in some of that empty space. I'm going to add some more pine branches. There we go. Let's add another one right here in the back. You could probably even add like another berry right here if you want to, just to break up some of that green. Now let's work on the rind of the orange a little bit. I want that orange rind to be darker, a darker orange. You can even come and take some of your darker green and maybe do a little bit of shadow there on your holly. And then let's see what we're gonna do. Let's mix some blue with this yellowy color and just sort of get a gray going. But I want a little more blue in my gray. I want it to be a little more blue. So we got a little gray going here. And I am going to just sort of paint this over the the mitten cuff in just some areas, just so that it gives it some shadow. There. I'm also going to take this and paint the rind with this sort of grayy color so that it's not so just in your face white right there. Then I am going to get some of this blue, water it down, want it to be really watery. And I'm just going to do the white parts on the candy cane. That's the shadows for the little white parts. And just keeping those to the edges. All right. There. Now it's got a nice little shadows down the edges. Now I don't know what I'm going to do. I think I am going to take a red, just really thick red. I'm just going to do the little circle part of this lollipop, the little spiral shape, just define it a little bit better so that you can tell it is a lollipop. There. Let's see, what else do I need to do? Let's add a little bit more shadows. I mean, a few little lines here and there to the orange, really small ones, just to give it more texture. And I think I'm even going to take some of this brown and mix it with this really darker orangey red and really define these a little bit more with that darker color. Add a little shadow at the bottom again. We added it earlier, but now that we've added more color, we lost our shadow, so we're going to add it back. No big deal. A little bit up here too. There we go. Perfect. Let's take this gray and add a stalk to our sucker back there. All right. So now I am just going to wet into some of my white gouache here. I'm going to start doing some polka dots. I'm going to do polka dots like this one. Just do polka dots. No rhyme or reason, however you want to do them. So we're going to make this design on here, just cute little polka dots. You can also use P.H. Martin's Bleed Proof White. You don't have to use white gouache. Or you could use like a paint pen. I don't like the way my paint pen looks on this though, so I'm going with the white gouache. My paint pen does not have very good coverage on this for some reason. I don't know if it's because it's a cheap paint pen. Who knows? Do a little half one there. And just keep adding polka dots. We're polka dot happy, aren't we? You probably want to make smaller polka dots. My polka dots are getting a little bit out of hand. They're getting a little big. I don't know. There we go. Polka dots, polka dots, polka dots everywhere. I hear you, Dorian. You are loud today. I'm also going to add some dots up here, right over some of those shadows. And that gives that sort of a fuzzy texture. That makes it look fuzzy, like it's some fur. I'm also going to do a little bit of a highlight just right down the center of the candy cane with my white. Maybe one here. I'm going to put a few little tiny white marks here just to add some highlights to the orange. You could even put one or two in your leaves. Maybe one here, one here. And we got to make the face for our cute little gingerbread man. He needs a face. So we're going to paint him some eyes on and a little smile and some buttons. You got to have some buttons. There you go, buddy. You got your buttons on. And some little cuffs. There. All right. I think that just about does it. You can add a few maybe highlights around your sucker, some here. But I think that is a cute little mitten. Okay, I hope you enjoyed today's live. We will see you next Wednesday. Wait, is next Wednesday Thanksgiving? I don't know. We may not see you next Wednesday. I'm not working Thanksgiving week. So, but if it's not, I'll see you next Wednesday. If not, I'll see you the Wednesday after that. And I hope you have some happy painting. Bye.